What's up, guys? Jason Godwin here with Dustin, and tonight on this Thanksgiving Eve, we are going to talk a little bit about how can we do better for next year and what's went really good this year and what's went maybe not so good. And so, I get to deal with and talk with a lot of people, same way with Dustin. And so we usually get to hear the struggles and the issues, and we also get to hear the wins, and that's always a good thing to hear the wins. And so that's kind of what I want to hit on tonight. Tomorrow we got Turkey Day. We got my in-laws in the morning, and we got my parents or my mom in the afternoon, evening. And so we got a lot of day for Turkey Day. And so it's always good to be Thanksgiving. And as we talk about Thanksgiving, it's always good to think about things of, being thankful, right? I think being thankful is very important to look at our wins and our successes, and whether it's in business or it's with our family, whether it is whatever it might be. It's just thankful for that we got a roof over our heads for us, and all of those things that will help us. Just be thankful. A lot of times we get into the nitty gritty and we don't always think that way, but I just want to take a little bit on being thankful and to make sure that we are. Again, my book of the week. This is a good book, especially if you're trying to do some different social media stuff, different things like that. Is called Rethink Everything. About social media, and it's by Kyle Draper. So it is a good book. It's super easy. It's Jason proof. It's not very thick. It's got big writing on it. It's got big pictures in it. So again, it's super easy to read. It take you maybe an hour or two to read it and take it and then take action on it. So with that, Dustin, what do you got planned for this weekend for your Thanksgiving?
Oh my goodness. Believe it or not, I am working tomorrow. It's crazy. Yep, we're working, but obviously I've taken probably 3, 4 hours off. So there we go. Yeah, I have to work. We have a lot going on, lights at wholesale, so it's crazy. We have hundreds of orders right now that we have to ship out. We got all of them out that could, but there's over 100 orders more. So if we don't work tomorrow, we're not going to get everybody's orders out on Friday. So, but yeah, we always putting the customer first, Jason. We're always putting you guys first. All the installers, we really appreciate all the work out there that you guys are putting out there. That those that are listening to Jason and taking action. Jason's a huge person. I hear that out of his lips all the time. Taking action. Read something, but then take action. Don't just read about it, but actually do it. So we're here. We're taking action. We're planning on a huge break though in the next couple of weeks. So I tell all my employees we're almost there. A couple more weeks, right? So take as long as we always let our employees take as long a breaks as they want in the off season. Just refresh, do that, spend tons of time with your families. And I always remind everybody it's like being a tax accountant during tax season, just how it is. We're with my accountant, we're always calling last minute for things, and she's always answering even up to midnight for us, and we really appreciate what she does that for us. So we want to do the same thing for all of our customers as well. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun just to relax a little bit with the fam for a few hours. We're going over to my in-laws and enjoy some good turkey dinner. But like you said, Jason, at the beginning, there's so many things to be thankful for, guys. Like there's so much. So I hope that some of the people can tell us some of the things that they've been thankful for with the Christmas lights this year. I hopefully there's some people that have some good wins that they've gone through this year, even if they're small wins. Last year I got someone going late in the season and he only got like 6 installs done for the year, and he was kind of disappointed. But guess what? He was that much more ahead this year. So any kind of win gets you ahead of for the next year. So
Yeah, and that's a good point of even talking about. I hear a lot of people is it too late to start? And I always tell them, no, it is not too late to start. I mean, even if you can get 4, 5, 6, 10 jobs done before the end of this year, I know people that have started in December and get 5 jobs done to get in the end of the year. And it will help you so much more next year. And you don't even realize how much it will help you because it will get you on there. And I like what you said about your wins. I'd like to see if you got wins, put them in the comments. So we would like to see some of your wins and celebrate some of your wins with you all because, it is all about the wins. I always tell people, I can remember my first $1,000 day. I can remember my first $10,000 month, but my $100,000 month, that was just a kind of another day, right? $50,000 month, it was kind of another day. But that first $1,000 job, I never forget it. I never forget that $10,000 month because it was things that I would have never believed in myself that I would have been able to do that. And so that's why I'm always big on what is your successes, because you need to know what you need to celebrate your wins. Because if you're chasing money and that's the only thing that you're chasing at the end of the day, you will always want more and more, and it's never going to be any better for you at the end. So make sure you're celebrating your wins. Make sure you're doing your wins, getting your wins out there and celebrating those wins. Mr. Barry said, hit the like button for Thanksgiving. It is free. And then, Lucky Lindy, not yet. I'll keep y'all busy. So,
yeah, she's keeping us busy. Oh my goodness. She's maybe going to close this huge $50,000 job. So she's texting me and waiting for them to be patient. I told her on these big jobs, they have to talk to like 6 different people, but I mean, it's really close. Good job, Lindy. And yeah, she's definitely keeping us busy. She's getting some huge orders in, some unbelievable. And I think this is only her, third year or second year?
Third year.
But yeah, they're doing good, her and Dan, and they're keeping each other hopefully insane too. Sane or insane.
Well, I don't know if you can do that with Lindy, but
yeah.
Mr. Brian Fletcher, how you doing this evening? Happy Thanksgiving. Blessings, everyone. Thank you for the hard work. Thank you for salvation, business, family, food, clothing, shelter, Jason and Dustin, for sure.
Thanks, Brian.
And what I love about Brian is sometimes people think that you're too old or too young to do it. Brian is in his 60s. He's probably like 64, 65 now. I think he was 62 3 or 4 years ago when he first started his pressure washing and Christmas light business. And so it's really neat to see people be successful even when they are just a young man like Brian Fletcher is. So been watching you all for a while and own a tree service company around Amala. I can't even say what the word is. What should I charge per foot? Are you talking about Christmas lights or pressure wash or Christmas lights? I would be at anywhere from $6 to $10 a foot. I really like to be $8 a foot. All right. Year 3, first time, full time. Yep. Because Dan's been part time the last 2 years as he's been doing this. So as one thing that I want to get in here and talk about is this is a good time of the season. I know we're kind of we're still kind of got about a week or 2 left. And then it's pretty much going to slow down. It usually slows down around the 10th, December 10th to December 15th. In general, that's usually when it will slow down. Actually, it'll slow down before that, but usually it comes to pretty much a screeching halt at December 10th. And so December 10th is definitely a day that we have to, that's when this is going to slow down. So this is a good time this week, next week, is starting to think about things that work and things that didn't work, right? A lot of times we can start looking at, and it's a lot easier to think about it while we're in it versus we get out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we start forgetting about things. And, the one thing that I like about Dustin is really good about systems and how do you systemize stuff so that things work really well, and being able to look at that. And so that's one reason why I wanted to kind of look at this. And it's not just a system of hanging Christmas lights, but it could be the system of how are you doing your phone sales? Are you doing in person, online? What was your biggest job and why, with that big job, how much profit was it? How did you get that job? What were some things that you can do? So these are good things to start thinking about now and start writing down notes. So that way when you get to the point of in a couple of weeks and you're just sitting there after you're recouping from the Christmas light craziness, this is how you're able to start looking at this and making things better. And so, Dustin, what are your thoughts on some things to start looking at or should be looking at to make sure that we are seeing what systems we need to make better?
So right now, I mean, everybody that's been in my office knows I carry this book right here. So I write down all the things I want to go through for the coming year, basically on here. And the reason why I keep it in a notebook right here, because it's too long to type or too long. I like to keep everything here, and I know I'm going to go through this. So that just works for me. Everybody's a little bit different. I'm old school, been doing this a long time. So I have my little notebook, and I'm going to write it here. And then whenever I talk to some of the employees that come in here or whatever, we write down the best parts. And I said, guys, cool, that's great. Let's not work on it right now. Let's just get through this season. And then, end of December, 1st of January, we'll talk about the most important things and make the adjustments. And you know what, guys, that's the funnest thing for me about running a business. I always like to, with everything I do in life, and I hope you guys are the same way, I like to get better and better. I don't always want to be the same every year. Whether, I'm trying to be a better husband every year, trying to be a better father, trying to be a better person to my neighbors. I'm trying to be better at some of the weaknesses that I have. I have a lot of weaknesses, and I try to get better and better. And in business, I try to get better. And that's what makes it fun, because we can always improve, and it's fun to get, something that was hard last year is easier now because we made different systems in place. And usually, guys, it doesn't take that much effort. You just have to know, work on a few things that you're like, hey, let's start with the top things. Like, I don't know if anybody wants to ask any question. What are some of the things that you guys have struggled this year that me and Jason can help you out as well? I've been doing this over 20 years, and I'm still learning and still growing. And I love it because it's something that you can never perfect. It's Christmas lights. You can always do better and better, which is awesome. And then, like Jason said, along the way, be thankful for your wins, because you want to get better, but you also want to be thankful along the way and look at the progress. As I look back, Jason was mentioned, he remembers his first $1,000 day and $10,000 job. Man, I remember, first time I brought, it sounds crazy, but I was so excited that I brought $250 in one day in my business when I first started. $250. I was washing windows, and I was so excited. I was 22 years old, and I called my mom. It's like I won the lottery. I was so excited because my mom's like, "You're gonna fail. That's a crazy idea, washing windows. Don't be like your dad," she'd always say, because my dad owned his own business. So I called her and said, "Mom, I made $250 today." I was so excited, and I still remember that coming off. I was in my Toyota Camry with my ladder on top. And I was just so excited for that. And that was kind of like a turning point that I can make this happen, and I was excited about that. But yeah, be thankful along the way, like Jason said, and then shoot for the stars every year. What can you do better? And it's fun. And then work on those things and get better. And it's like sports. You always want to get better. You're never good. You're never like, okay, we're good enough now. We won the Super Bowl or whatever. Well, next year's a different year. All the people now know kind of what you did. They want to try to beat it, and it's fun. It's a friendly competition, and it just makes a lot more fun when you treat things like a game. Try to get better and better at it.
And I talked with a couple people this week, one on my marketing call, and he was struggling and can't get no jobs. And then I talked to some other people that they're going to have record months. One I was on the phone today with, he's going to do $350,000 for the month of October. And so, as I was talking with him, what are the things that have been successful? Is there one marketing thing or another? I was talking with Daniel this week, and he did a lot of Facebook ads. And this week he's like, the Facebook ads have kind of closed down, right? And so, and that's what I told him. I'm like, well, what is this week? This week is Black Friday, right? And so you got everybody putting money into Facebook ads at this point. And so Facebook has more people to know what to do with to deliver these ads. And so you just kind of got to see. And so, as people do marketing, as different revenues, different avenues, I think it's one of those things that you can look at what can you do next year. And like the one that was going to do 350 this month in October, he's like, I'm going to go way more in on EDDM. This is year 4 for him, or 5, year 4, I believe it is. And he's like, I know where my areas are now. I know exactly where our high money is. And so this is one of the things that you need to look at is, when you're looking at your people, are you in the right area? Are you in the area that you want to be in? And so, some people will be like, I want to be in all the areas, but we all know that that's not always the best thing to do. And even how I teach Christmas lights is different than what Dustin does. And so he's been at it for a long time. And so you actually kind of moved away from the big area and moved out into the country, didn't you, when you kind of figured out that the big houses wasn't always where the money was at, or where you can make more?
Yeah, I started in Sandy. It's probably the richest area in Utah, Sandy area. It's south of Salt Lake City, and they have a lot of money there. And that's where I started. And the first homes I started were huge. Like, they were a monster. And believe it or not, we're still doing 2 of them on this road. But yeah, it's, I realized for me and my guys, everybody does things different. But we like to do, we do some big jobs, but we like the bread and butter jobs too. So the jobs that are, easier to do a lot of the times and don't take as much skill, because all the skill jobs always took my attention over there. And I realized if I was going to run a business, I wanted to make sure that it was that could basically run itself. I wanted to make sure that anybody, if they started that year, would be able to do any job. I don't want to have to rely on just one employee that can do that, because if they ever quit, then it comes back to me again. So everybody runs their businesses different. But I run it on a system. I run it on things that we know that we can rinse and repeat, and that you can make good money with it. So, but that's kind of how I do it. But again, there's other people that do it completely different. I always say that to everybody: do whatever it kind of resonates with you, and you'll probably be successful. Usually your intuition tells you what the best route to go for you. If you try to be someone that you're really not going to sell the kind of jobs if you're trying to just do something because someone on Facebook says you should target, all the big houses in the area. And that might be good for someone else, but for you, you're like, hey, I actually know a person that does all 1-level homes. That's all they do. It's crazy. And they make good money just doing 1-level homes. It's crazy. We don't do that, but I mean, yeah, this person's pretty old now. And he's like, I only do 1-level homes. He's done it for a long time. And he's very successful. He's given up all his hard jobs, and they just focus on 1-level homes, and he does really well doing it. So everybody can do something, and that's what makes it fun. Do what you guys want to do, and do what your employees are motivated to do too. Because again, I'm a huge believer in getting the right employees, and then kind of having the business around the employees as well. Meaning, have them part of your team, have them part of your vision, that they're not going to go anywhere. If you're with your employees, if you have it like, hey, it's just my way or the highway, and you don't get their input, I think a lot of people really, even more than the money, they want to feel involved, that they're doing something, that they're the owner is talking to them and getting them involved. So I talk to my employees every year, and we focus on, like 4 or 5 years ago, we had a meeting, and my guys didn't want to do any really, really hard jobs anymore. So we either sold them or got rid of them, like the really, really difficult ones. We still have a few of them. But, we've been doing this a long time, and we're able to do that at this point. Other people are like, man, I just want to get whatever job. So you can kind of do what you want, and things change, going in business after 10, 15 years, you're going to probably adjust things different than you do at the beginning. So.
Yep, I agree. Actually, that question came up in the group this week. Can you just do 1-story houses? And so
there you go. Yeah, you can. And that's what's crazy. And I know a guy, you know him too, Jason, you met him. All he does is Christmas lights. He's the second biggest company in the nation. I think second or third biggest. And all he does is Christmas lights. He starts like October 15th. Okay. He does it kind of later. It's crazy. He starts later, and he's able to do millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, very short amount of time, in like 4 different states. But all he does, and then he travels the world, does for photography and does whatever he wants the rest of the time. So it's nuts. So you can dream your dream. I was actually talking to another guy today. It was interesting, and he's like, you know what? He actually did some other businesses. He sold out, and he said, Dustin, you know what I want to do? I just want to do lights, and that's it. And I just want to make just a comfortable living, and that's all he wants to do. And him and two other guys, that's they're kind of all three-way partners, and that's their goal this year to do that. And I said, yeah, you can definitely do that. So do it what you guys want to do. That's what's fun. It's like, and I told you guys about last week about the other guy living on a lake, and he just does Christmas lights too. So that's the neat thing about Christmas lights, Jason, is you can make enough money to just do Christmas lights if you do it right for the rest of the year. So I know people that do that. We could do that too if I wanted to. I could just do my install company, Christmas lights, and make plenty of money for the rest of the year if I want to do that. I don't want to do that. I still want to do other things, but isn't that cool that you can do whatever you want? Or you could do like Jason. Look at Jason. He's been successful selling his business and teaching other people how to do it. Look at this guy, and he's teaching me every time I talk to him. So there's lots of ways to do this. It's fun.
Well, I think the problem with most entrepreneurs, we have a little ADD and we just can't do one thing. So,
yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. It's true. And I know you said that, when I first met you, a lot of us had that. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true.
we can't just focus on one thing. Well, and a lot of us that are entrepreneurs too are problem solvers, right? And so we're always trying to look for problems to solve. And obviously we can't solve our problem with our wife because they don't want us to solve the problem. They just want us to listen to them. And so you got to go solve problems. So that's just a way that you got to do it. We got a couple questions coming in here. So if you've got any questions or if you got a struggle you want to ask, definitely ask. Patrick asked, when should I put out my last 100-yard signs, tonight or this weekend? I would probably go ahead and do it tonight if you want. They're not probably going to get pulled, being that it's Black Friday and everybody's off work that would be pulling them. So I would probably go ahead and get them out this week. That way on Friday morning and Friday when people are out shopping. And yes, I have noticed more this year than I have in the last 2 or 3 years that a lot of people are shopping at the malls. I'm actually was surprised. My daughter went to the one outlet mall and it's usually dead, and it was packed the other day, last Saturday. And so I have definitely seen more people at the malls than in the past. So I would definitely get them out now. Season ain't over yet. 80 signs going out tonight from Pressure Wash Mastery. How are you doing tonight? Hey guys, this is my first year doing lights. I'm excited about it. Awesome. I'm excited for you. We got AJ. Mr. AJ's up in Canada. What's up, Jason? How should I handle customers who want to keep their lights up all year? How much extra should I charge? I always tell them, I always tried to keep them away from it. Did I ever do it? Yes, I did let some people keep it up all year. In fact, we had a little bakery that they kept their lights on 24/7, and I think it was like 5 years before the first bulb went out, and then they all went out pretty much at the same time. But they just stayed on 24/7, day and night. And so, I would try to upcharge some, but I would just be like, my insurance really doesn't cover this, because it really doesn't. It kind of falls under the electrical code of you're only allowed to do them for 90 days. Keep them up. I'm sure Canada is probably the same. So that's kind of where you are with that. The other thing bad about keeping them up, especially if they're doing them in trees and bushes, which I've seen a bunch of this year too, is the good old squirrels and rabbit gnawing on them also, which is just stupid. But so, hey, Dustin, do you guys got a bunch of squirrels that eat on lines up there?
We don't. We're actually fortunate. We don't ever have that problem. It's crazy because we have the mountains and everything, and we don't have that problem. I guess it's everywhere else. That's the only, good thing that we have is not the squirrel problem. We have the snow problem, but we don't have the squirrels. I see all these posts that show the wire's been chewed on, and I'm like, I don't think we've ever had a rodent or something I can think of that's chewed on one of our lights ever at all the years we've done them. So isn't that crazy? Just haven't had that problem.
I never forget one time we had a big tree that we did at another bakery, and I did it with Lightorama lights so I could turn them on and off. And this thing, we had a 40-foot ladder all the way up into this branch up because the stupid squirrel had eaten that one bulb and took out that whole limb that we had to go up.
Yeah, see, good old memories. Yeah, good times.
Are there any conventions or trainings this winter? Looking to forget my guys more training. We are looking at doing an advanced class probably in the wintertime. And then in the spring, or I don't know when, we'll definitely be doing some more training classes for the permanent lighting and Christmas lights and all of those great things. Shiny object syndrome. Yep, don't we all? Doing great. Yard signs, yard signs, yard signs. I'm putting out my signs now. Hands off bottom feeders. Competition keeps taking down my signs. Either that or the city workers on the weekends. Yeah, the city workers will take them down too. We have a local place here. One of our cities, the police will actually pick them up too. So, and they have quite a bit of police out there. So, as we are about halfway through here, what, Dustin, do you think? As like I've said in the past, we've gotten. My goal is to help people grow their business. Obviously, if you guys got questions, put them in there. But as we are looking toward next year, what do you think are some trends that might come up next year that obviously one thing that we've seen this year was the Govee trend. That was probably the biggest trend. Last year you've seen it a little bit, but this year where Sam's, Walmart, everybody had Govee and get them for $200 and put them up, and that way before they fall back down. But what are your thoughts on trends for next year?
So one thing that we have had, it's been crazy. So we made a couple of posts. I knew that they were going to be, anything new, you're going to get a lot of attention because some people are going to either hate it or some people see it. So, we made a couple of posts about that. I invented about 13 different attachments. They're clips, and I tried to invent them for all the types of fascias and all that. And so we've already been doing this in our Christmas light company. So I really think, guys, that this is going to be the wave of the future, whether people like it or not. That people are going to be installing these like C9 bulbs. We've already been doing it in this area, and then we've had other people that we've been selling, and it's growing like crazy. And you can be able to charge a lot more money. The customer likes it, and then you can just take them down every year as well, so they can have different colors of the year. If one of their friends come over, their little kid, and they can change it for their daughter, and then they can take a day for their son, for his week, what colors he picks or whatever. It just makes it more fun. And again, so you can still do the regular C9 bulbs, and then you do the RGBW as seasonal lights as well. So you can put them up and take them down the same way, and you can charge a premium for them. And then we just leave the controller right at the house, and you can take them down and put them up again. And then for those that just like, hey, I don't want any more of that, then you can install them permanently with track and stuff like that. So I really do see that continuing. We've been testing that out, and it's been working really well. And obviously permanent lights as well. I don't like permanent lights as much as any of them because again, I'm huge on man per hour, how much money we bring in per man hour. That's what I look at instead of how much footage and all that. I look at how much money we can make per man hour. And we want to make about $500 an man hour. Is that what we're kind of at right now? And so with permanent lights, we're around $150 per man hour. So it's a lot less. But the RGBW clips, we're actually, even though we just started, we're actually higher than our temporary, like when we're installing that way. So I'm really excited. And again, we're only going to make it more and more efficient as we do it. Again, and a lot of people don't understand that. They just like, oh, I don't get that. But again, it's a lot easier than the RGB bulbs that you're thinking of. Like, we're actually having a huge sale to get rid of all of them because they have the little remote control. And it's a pain. People still try to do that. That's a pain to do that. They don't really work that well. But this is actually easier to install. Well, I shouldn't say it's easier to install, but it can do so much more. It's not that much harder than regular lights. And then the customer can change whatever bulbs they want and just set them up there. And then you can come back after the end of the season. You can also put these up earlier too. So it gets your season started earlier. But I would definitely, and we're going to be doing a lot of trainings with Jason next year about this. And we're going to, those that follow us, we're going to keep letting you guys know what's working. But I think in the next few years, a lot of people are going to be doing this. So just keep that in mind. And then again, C9 bulbs aren't going away. Don't be scared. We're still selling a lot of those. We're still doing those, but it's just another thing that keeps the customer coming to you versus your competition.
And I think it's definitely something that I like with the clips, because then we can put them up in September and we can put them up in July and push for 4th of July, do September, then we can go right into Halloween, and then we can go right into Christmas. And that way we can just make it a lot easier. And then it's just a way that I think it is definitely going to make a big difference in the future of helping with the side of making it a little bit simpler.
Yeah, and the thing is too is because now they have the clips, huh? It's if you can install Christmas lights, you can install these too. So again, we have them pointed. We have clips that point the bulb straight out or down. Again, each customer is going to be a little bit different. But if you want them to look just like Christmas lights, they point straight out. They look just like C9s. It's crazy. We're going to be doing some videos shortly and showing you guys that you cannot tell the difference, but they look like C9 bulbs pointed straight out at nighttime. And again, it's cool because now you can have some functionality of it too. And again, that's what, especially the newer generation, these young kids, that's what they're wanting. So, eventually it's going to all probably go there eventually, because these kids want, exciting things with their smartphones, and, it's just going that way anyways. But again, it's exciting. It's another opportunity, guys. It's kind of fun to be in this market because we can keep making money and keep it growing, and and it's going to be fun to keep developing this.
So how many? I know last year you were able to keep moving through some of your clients that were wanting permanent lighting into through the middle of the year. Do you think you'll have the same thing this year, or do you think it'll slow down some for you?
Yeah. So, yep. Our goal again. So what we use for permanent lights, and then again, this is how we do it. We do not want to take away our traditional installs. Again, the per man hour is a lot lower for us, and we're fairly decent at installing permanent lights, but it's just like the consistency of having a job already installed, especially after that first year, and go back again and again. It's just so easy. That's why everybody's scared. So kind of the same thing that we do is we'll go up there and we're going to do the same thing, guys. And I recommend everybody doing this. Okay, listen, when you guys take down your lights, let them know that you also install. If you guys want to get into this business, you also do permanent lights. You do it at that time, because there's going to be a lot of people thinking about it. One of two things are going to happen. Either they're like, wow, that's flipping a lot of money. I'm just going to keep having you do traditional lights, which is awesome. The second thing is, you know what? We were thinking about going that way, and I'm glad you called us, because what happened to us the year before is we lost a lot of those people. So to answer your question, Jason, yes, we are going to keep doing that. And our goal is just to do Christmas lights, or not Christmas lights, but lights year round. This year, we got all the way to about end of May, June, before we started slowing down with permanent lights. That was pretty good because we started actually end of January. So about end of May, we did get some in July and August. But our goal this year, I think we're going to have just enough customers to keep it going all the way, so we don't have to do, for us, we don't like to do window clean. It's been something I've been wanting to get out since I started. I actually really like doing washing windows. It sounds crazy, but I don't like having employees washing, because it depends on the weather. It's up and down all the time. All those that's been in the business, it's bad. It's just really hard. It's either feast or famine. So, and then there's not as much money involved with that. So, I like to be able to pay my employees really well. And with window cleaners, my guys make the least amount during that time. We pay everything piece rate, so they always make the least amount of money during that time. Yet they feel like they work the hardest for that money. So it's like, hey guys, we're going to try to do the perm lights year round, and then we can just focus on lights. So cross our fingers, Jason. Hopefully this year we can get all the way through to September, where we start taking lights up, regular lights going. So a few more months and we'll get up.
So Troy asked the question, when should I take my customer lights down? So we usually take down January 1st. Some people want them down before that, but the best thing is especially when you start getting a lot of them, make sure you put them in an app so that you can be efficient at getting them down. One thing that I see a lot of people been telling people bad information this year is when you install them, you install to take down. I've seen people say put some wire ties around it. You don't want to do any of that stuff. You want to be able to, last year DJ and I took 15 homes down in a day, and it didn't take us that long. Each house only took us like 10 to 12 minutes, and we had them all down. It doesn't take that long to get them down. Mark, put them in the truck, and move on to the next one. So you definitely want to put up to take down. When I first had a business, I would always tell them the first 2 weeks of January. By the end of the business, I would tell them it was the end of the month, because we had so many clients that it just took longer to get them down. So make sure that you're marking them. Make sure that you are storing them properly. Don't put them in garbage bags. They won't work next year if you do, because the moisture gets trapped in and it can't get out. How do I know? Because that's what I did. And we had about 3 sets that wouldn't work after that. So you can do cardboard boxes because they'll dry out. You can do the big plastic tubs, but again, you need to make sure you put holes in the bottom because they won't dry out if water gets in there. If you're with us or Dustin and you got snow and you get snow in the lights and the snow gets in the box, then that's water, and that water will sit in there till the next year, and those lights won't work either. How do I know that? Because it's happened to me. So I do like the boxes. The other thing that works really good too are the little crates, the little fruit tray crates. They're about that tall and they're about that big. They work really well too. That's another thing that allows that air to go through and dry them out. So those are some things that you can do to make sure that you are doing it. But the biggest thing with takedowns is make sure you route them. So the last thing you want to do is drive here, drive there, and drive back here to take down. Where if you take them down in a nice area, you can just knock them all out real fast, and you don't have a bunch of windshield time. So, what's up, Derek? Give me a shout out. There's your shout out. So see, we're live. Any tips or tricks on takedown, Dustin, for these guys that are starting to think about it?
Yes. One of the things you mentioned too is we start the second. So again, I would say the very most important thing you can do is communication with your customers. Let them know whatever you guys tell a customer you have to do. So we let our customers know at the end of the season. We also let them know when we're putting them up, but a lot of people forget. So we let them know. We send out a mailer and a text message. We do both. That way, those that don't get their text messages, or they get the letter, but we let them know the same thing that we let them know every year, that we will be coming it's usually January 2nd, depending on the weekend. If it happens to be whatever, it might be the 3rd or 4th. But usually January 2nd, we'll be taking down your lights. There's no reason to call us, guys. We try to make it very easy. We explain exactly what we're doing. We're going to take down your lights. And we're going to, don't worry about calling us because we're going to take care of them. It's going to take us, again, we do a lot of jobs. So we always say between January and March, we give ourselves all the way to March, just in case if we have a snowy season. Most of the time we're done middle of February. But again, we say March. That way people aren't like freaking out. Hey, where are you guys at? And we just let them know in there. And then if you have any questions or whatever, you can always text us, whatever. But otherwise, we'll go there. One thing we also do, we're known from giving our little chocolate bags. I would encourage everybody to get kind of their own signature thing that you leave the customer. We're huge at giving, because this is kind of, guys, the buyer's remorse. People get buyer's remorse, like meaning they have the blues of they spent all their money on Christmas lights. Everybody's excited about Christmas. They buy all their kids' stuff. They buy the Christmas lights. And then, when you take down their lights, they're usually not in the best mood because it's like, man, I spent all this money. They have all these, I have all this debt now. And then they get the little chocolates and they're like, oh, that was nice of them. We have customers that seriously say they do the lights for the chocolates. They love those little chocolates. And again, they're made in Utah, and you do something special for your customers, whatever it is. I know one company that actually rents out a bakery shop. They actually get all the ingredients and hand make cookies, and they deliver those cookies right before Christmas. I mean, that's awesome. And all their employees getting with it. They send videos and texts, and they get so much business because, and people love that. So just do something simple when taking down the lights. Again, we usually do that, taking down the lights, and then we leave a little message and say, hey, if you guys want your permanent lights, blah, 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 we do that. Then some simple things to do too is to mark your jobs very easy. I mean, just make sure that it's marked really well. You know, that's the biggest headache, huh, Jason, is going back when the jobs aren't marked well. So we reiterate with all our employees, make sure you mark. And you know, I think almost every single employee comes back now with us every year. So they want to make sure they're marked. It's usually the ones that aren't planning on coming back that don't really care. They'll just yank them down and, you know, so, but yeah, you mark the job so good. One thing I realized, guys, out of all the years that I do, we do the best of both worlds. We have a color on we do color and we do number. The color of the drawing is just so that people know where the lights are, because some people are visual, and then the numbers where the strand starts. Now, I know, Jason, you have some little things that you've done that works good, but pick something and stick with it. That's what's worked really good with us. Most of my guys now, a lot of them, no, I shouldn't say most, a lot of them can do the jobs without even looking at the drawing after they do the job a few times a year. They remember exactly what to do, but it's still nice for any new guys or if they forget some stuff, you know. So yeah, you mark them really good. Jason said, do the route, you know, make sure everything's routed really good. And how we do it, guys, is again, how we route. Everybody will do it every different, but we try to put the route in the same way where we store the lights, meaning, so that way next year we know all of the jobs are right by each other. And so we go through every few years and just kind of reorganize everything. We don't do that every year. That way, every few years, all the bins are ready to go for the next year. And that way, when we're going, we're like, oh yeah, we need to get Sally Johnson. Let's call them while we're out there. And you try to get everybody in that neighborhood while you're doing. Hey, you just say for the next year, hey, we're doing Sally's house. We're going to be in your neighborhood. You want to do it? And a lot of people will, for next year, will do that just because you're in the neighborhood. Don't wait, you know, to call them and they don't hear from back. Leave a message saying, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood for next year. So again, this is all part of takedown. You're preparing for putting up. You're not just thinking, I just need to get these lights down as fast as possible. I always think of make it as easy as possible for the next year. So do these little simple things. And, you know, I like Jason said, we're going to be going have some advanced trainings. We're going to get into more depth on how we run our business and make you guys successful as well. But those are some tips and tricks that you guys can do for takedown.
The other thing too in January is see if you can get them to pay for next year. Sometimes people will. You can give them a discount. You do a payment plan. I know people that do payment plans. You can do a 10-month payment plan, so then that way they'll buy more lights. And that way, when October runs around, they'll buy even more lights from you because they've already paid everything. It's not such a big hit. So that's another option. Especially if you all have other seasonal businesses, then it's cash flow all year long. So that's another thing to think about when you are coming in January. So just some things that work that I do know people that do, and it works. And so I just want to kind of give you that information.
If I was starting over, Jason, again, I always say what I do right now, and I would put everything on a subscription. It's so easy. Like even my wife is telling me all these things that I've signed up for, and I'm still paying for 3 or 4 years. I don't even realize it's so easy, right? To get people on a subscription, and then you just have like a monthly. Hey, this is going to take care, especially like you said, if they do their landscape or their window cleaner or whatever, you get them on a subscription. Hey, adding lights is going to cost this much more a month. They get them on the subscription model, and then they just like it's already taken care of. They don't want to cancel because they're like, nah, I've already paid this much, we might as well get the lights done. And people forget to take, it's just easier for people. You want to make it easy to do business, right? And so subscription is a huge thing. I would be pushing like crazy. Again, I always think outside the box a little bit. Everybody's like, oh, I wouldn't do it that way. Well, I do everything everybody tells me I shouldn't do, and that's how we do it. So
that's an entrepreneur.
always trying to do something outside the box. So
well, and honestly, that's the best way things are, right? When you think outside the box and not do what everybody says to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got ways of what works and what don't, and a lot of times you figure that out by thinking outside the box. But that's the way you learn, and that's the way you grow. Mr. Ron Roby. You guys are awesome. Great tips. He had some twinklies. He posted a picture in his group of some twinklies. They were some off-brand twinkly lights. um, Mr. Ron out of Texas. So, what? So this year, what's been the hot ticket for selling Christmas lights, Dustin?
You know what's crazy? Yeah. So, man, it's nuts. So obviously our number one seller, I just looked at it a couple days ago. It was the seller. It's been the seller every week. Is our commercial elite bulbs. We've sold millions and millions of them just this year alone. I actually had to buy a full container again because we were going to be sold out. And so they arrived a couple of weeks ago and we're almost sold out of those. It's crazy. So commercial elite bulbs, guys, they're great. 5-year warranty on them, the longest out of anybody doing it. A lot of people say, what's the warranty? They kind of make fun of the warranty. I'm like, everything about warranty, guys. It shows that we stand behind it. And then again, we make it easy to return the thing. I mean, as easy as possible. You just keep the bulbs. You can even just show us at the end of the year. You don't even have to send them back. We're going to believe you unless if it seems something crazy. Just count the bulb, and we're going to send you free replacements if you have any burned out. Just make it as simple as possible. No one's out doing that. They make it really hard. They give you a life. They might have a 3-year warranty, but then they say, well, you used it 2 years, so you only get a third of the warranty back. We don't do that on the bulbs. So yeah, the number one seller has been the commercial elite bulbs. We've also sold a killing on those starter packs. The 1,000-foot the starter pack's been really popular. Jason even, he's done this for a long time, but he likes buying the starter packs because he says he gets everything. It's true. You get everything basically that you need. You don't have to have too much of one thing, for the most part. So you get everything in right. It makes it simple. You always say, keep it simple, stupid, or something like that, or keep it simple, Santa. But yeah, you keep it simple. You get everything you need in those starter kits. And then another thing that's been these dang 70 count lights this year. Our 50s have always been the most popular. For some reason, and we still sell a little bit more 50s, but the 70s, someone's been pushing those 70s because we just cannot keep those in stock. And then thanks to Dan and Lindy, man, they bought us out again of all our Sunwarm whites. So he's like, we want every single one of them. We're sold out of Sunwarm whites, guys, on the 70 counts. We can't keep them. Like, we bought in so many of those. So we just are having a hard time with the 70 counts. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, those three are the top winners.
So, how's shipping going so far? Which we know that tomorrow, Friday, is going to be crazy, but how's shipping still going as of right now? Because I know some other people have been saying it's been taking 8-10 days to get stuff. So,
you know what's crazy? So, shipping is going slow right now in the sense of we are waiting for stuff too. Like, it's frustrating for us. Like, we're waiting for stuff to come for like our permanent light stuff, for example. And it's just it said it was supposed to be here on Thursday last week. And then Friday, now it was like Monday, and then today, Wednesday. Now they're saying Friday now. So things are changing. So it is just that time of the year. One thing that I would really recommend everybody is I felt really bad. I don't know if some of you guys have talked to Porter on the phone. He has the office on the other side of our conference room out there. And he was freaking being yelled at for 20 minutes. I heard this guy yelling at him for 20 minutes. And Porter was just listening to him. That, the guy paid for overnight shipping and they weren't there, and he was yelling at Porter, and Porter was just listening to him. He was getting blamed because Porter did, got the one day. It didn't come the one day. And so, guys, remember, there's only really 2 people that we can use is UPS and FedEx. They're doing the best they can too. I couldn't imagine. And in their little claims that they have in the holidays and like this, when things are packed, they try to do the best they can, but they say it's guaranteed, but there's some fine print on that. So the guy did get it the next day in 2 days. He was supposed to get one day. He got the next day. It was in the morning, luckily. But if he wouldn't have done that, it probably would have been there like a week and a half later. Do you know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. Not everybody's going to have mess ups on their shipping because we get a lot of people that are paying. Like, we actually sent something that Shane needed in Indiana last night, and he got it this morning. So we airshipped it. He got it right. He said, Matt, came like right in the morning. So it's not always going to be bad, but we hear all the worst ones that have problems. But like you said, Jason, this week is the worst, this week and next week, because of all the holiday shopping. Just keep that in mind. be patient. Just keep that in mind. Let your customers know up front too. Just say, hey guys, it's so busy right now. We're gonna get these lights as soon as possible for you, and some shipping delays, but right when we get them, we're gonna install them. Keep that in mind when you're doing that. And this time, we remind everybody years and years, as much as we can over the years. But even us, we're trying to get stuff right now. We're like, shoot, we need more of this or that. So it's just how it is. But before that, shipping was going really good. And again, we still, believe it or not, there's still a lot of people, even with regular ground, that are getting it pretty quick. So it just these pockets that get backed up for. I'm sure one guy gets a little pack. It's like a freeway accident or something, huh, Jason? Like you're going or someone slams on the brake, it causes everybody when there's a lot of traffic, messes things up. So for the most part, shipping's going okay, but you're going to have some of these hiccups, and just maybe make sure that if you're thinking normally when you get stuff from us, it takes 1 to 2 days, add a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more days. Worst case scenario usually.
And it's not on Dustin's side either, because they actually get up at 2-3 o'clock, and I know Shane said he's getting up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning to get all these orders out.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. We're doing everything, guys. If you guys saw the behind the scenes that we're doing, it's incredible, like you said. And we're getting up, between 1 and 3 in the morning. Shane's getting up at 1 in Indiana. They are shipping out 4 times more than Utah now. 4 times, which is nuts. It's crazy. The people over by you,
you're gonna have to move to Indianapolis.
I know it's crazy. So they're shipping 4 to 1 to us. Unbelievable. And Shane's like, I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, he's been with me this is his 6th year, and he's like, I just cannot believe. It's just incredible. So been really good though. We're able to get you guys the shipping times a lot faster now, and that's been very helpful for you guys. But behind the scenes, guys, like what I even said earlier today, I'm working tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Shane's working. My employees are working. Porter's coming in. We're trying to get all these orders, because if we don't come in, we're not going to be able to get all the orders shipped out on Friday. So we're doing everything in our powers, my employees, everything in the powers, to make sure we get the lights to you as quick as possible. And then we pray and hope that FedEx does their job and get the lights to you as best
and when they talk about shipping out, they're filling up whole truckloads of UPS.
Yeah, they're doing sweeps. They're doing sweeps, and they're getting trucks. We've been told that we have the biggest accounts in our areas in shipping at this time. It's crazy. So UPS, FedEx, you guys are our biggest account. It's crazy because they have to keep sweeping by. Indiana, man, they have truckloads of them. They come by like 4 times. It's nuts how many shipments they get out. So, but yeah, it's a crazy time, and but it's very exciting, and it's fun to help you guys succeed. And I love hearing the success stories that you guys share, and anything that we can do to help you guys out, that's what we're here for.
AJ asks, how much is it to get the starter kit delivered to Canada, eh?
You know what? It's actually not too much. It's only about 10% of the cost in Canada. I think we always take the hit on it. It costs more than that. It actually costs like double that, but we do charge. That's the only time we charge for shipping is when it's out of the 48 lower states. But yeah,
what about tariffs when it goes across the board? How does that work out?
Yeah, so we put it on there that you guys still have to pay. So it's actually just sales tax. So the tariff, there's no tariffs going from United States to Canada for Christmas lights. Some people think that it's the tariff, but it's just their sales tax. So in the states here, you have to pay sales tax too. So if you're in whatever state you are, you pay your sales tax. So some people say, oh, why am I paying this 9.5% or whatever sales tax? And I said, we looked into a long time ago, and I said, Canada still wants their sales tax. That's what you have to pay. Like we have to pay our sales tax here. But yeah, it's free tariffs that way. Like there's no tariffs, but there is sales tax that you'll have to pay. And then again, we keep the shipping really, really reasonable. It's we're paying, a good more than half of that cost when we ship that out to you. So a lot of people from Canada uses us because of that too. So
cool. Well, any last words for the people of trying to get through the last week or two? I will say, I know when I was in Christmas light business, when Thanksgiving rolled around, you were about done. I was actually talking to Jeremy tonight, and he's like, "I think I'm a zombie right now." And so, you do got to push through. This is you are, when Christmas light starts, you love it, and by the end of it, you're like, "Is it done yet?"
And then you can't wait till it starts again, right?
It's so true.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So I would just say, on my side of things, just be thankful for that you're able to be in the chaos and the craziness, and this is a hard time this week and next of just getting through it sometimes. And right now you're dealing with shipping issues, you're dealing with supply issues, you're dealing with there's things that we run out of, and we Dustin tries to keep it up to date, and it just happens. So you just got to be patient, and it's one of those things that as the suppliers, it's kind of a gamble. They don't know what's going to sell. I mean, they kind of know, but they don't know what's going to sell more or how much. Or Dustin was talking about how this part of the country buys more of this versus this side of the country, and so it's kind of a big they're kind of at the mercy, and and it's just one of those things that you just got to be patient. And I know it sometimes can suck when you don't get it. I've been there, I've done it. I've cussed at them before, but you just kind of got to move on and don't let it bother you, right? I know some people they get their panties in a twist and they get whatever, but sometimes it ain't gonna make it better. We can't magically get it there. So that's just what you have to do. So what are your last words of wisdom, Dustin?
Yeah, those were good. And again, we will do everything we can. So this customer of ours that was, Porter, it was yelled at Porter. So Porter took good care of him and said, you know what do you absolutely need so I can make sure. So he sent, again, we did it on our own dime. He sent exactly what he needed on our own dime, what he needed for the next day. He just said, just to have a double verification. The guy was freaking out, and he ended up getting both of the stuff. So he got the extra stuff that we sent him for free. We're always going to try to take care of you guys. We really want you guys to be successful. And it's just that time of the year, guys. Everybody's going crazy right now. And just think in a week, everything just starts slowing down. So it starts slowing down. But again, like Jason said, we get jobs all the way to the 15th or a little bit longer. Sometimes there's those late comers that we'll do a few of them, but give it a couple more weeks, and then we'll be thankful for the rest, and then we'll want to do it again, go right back to it. But it's an exciting time of the year. A lot of neat things happening with this industry, and we're going to be right there along the way with you to help you guys be successful.
Chris said, thanks, product has been great for us. So awesome. Alrighty. Well, again, if you need any lights, go check out christmaslights.io. We'll be on the lookout for training coming up. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And other than that, I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you all later. Hang on, Dustin.